Hey, thank you, Joe. That was very kind introduction. I think you might have a side hustle as a YouTuber with those slides with the pointing down arrows. That was excellent. Love that. So I really appreciate y'all taking the time to listen to us today. I'm looking at the attendees, and we have some folks we've talked to before. I see Steve Till Rogers from EPL. I see some folks from New York Public Library. So thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us. If you haven't heard this presentation before, or if you're a repeat offender, thanks for joining us again, and we'll try to show you what's new about Intercept. So with that, we'll get started. Yeah, I'm gonna start my PowerPoint there. All right. So I know some folks are libraries here in attendance, and some folks aren't. And so I wanted to just welcome you to Story Time. Thank you for being here. We wanted to give you a little idea about how this came about and how we got into the open source business. And I know some of you have done something similar as well. So we wanted to just let you know how we got here, what we're doing along the way, and some of the lessons that we've learned. So as Joe said, my name is Sarah Sawicki. I'm joined by Philip Higgins, who is our Director of Marketing and Digital Strategy. And we also have some folks on the line from our staff. I think Mark Jarrell is on the line. He is our backend developer, our Drupal expert. And then a lot of I think some of the Aten staff are on as well. So we have enjoyed working with Aten. So hey, Kay, glad to see you. Today, we'll share some highlights and lessons from the development of our new Drupal website and our open source event management application that we call Intercept. We really believe it is the next generation of the library experience, customized and personalized. So, but first, Joe has a few poll questions for you. So Joe, if you'll launch the poll, that would be awesome. And I'm not sure. Yep, there we go. So if you'll answer those questions while we're getting going, then that'll help us to know who some folks are. And if you're not a library staffer, some information about what you know about libraries.
We have a lot of people in this call, so just going to give them another few seconds to respond.
We'll just take a couple of minutes. That'll be awesome. Thank y'all for taking time out of your pandemic schedules. I'm assuming most everybody's still working from home. That's what we're doing. I do have 3 teenage children at home. I have threatened life and limb and loss of devices if they interrupt, but just FYI, they're in the house somewhere. Give it a little grace if they.
I'm going to close the poll and show the results.
Sure. All right, so we got a lot of librarians on the call. That's awesome. 84% work for a library, and then thankfully more than that have a library card from their hometown library. And then we have folks who are checking out books, ebooks, and some story times. Awesome. Okay, so we just wanted to have an idea of who was on the call. Okay. So just a quick overview of who we are at Richland Library. We have 13 locations, around a little less than 400, fewer than 400 employees, and we serve around 410,000 residents of Richland County. We are located in surrounding the capital city of South Carolina, which is Columbia. We are home to the University of South Carolina. We have a lot of state government going on here. So of those 410,000 people, even before all of this crazy pandemic happened, those residents had seen a lot of changes in our libraries over the last few years. We have renovated or built new all of our libraries since 2013, when our residents approved a $59 million bond referendum. So knowing that NYPL is on the call probably doesn't sound like very much, but it was a lot to us. And so over the course of that time, we, like many of you, have been adapting not just our physical spaces, but our organizational models as well, really redefining what it means to be a library today. And you're doing the same thing. So our vision is to enhance the quality of life for our entire community. We don't believe our work starts when you come in the door or even download a book. We make things better for everybody in our county, and that's important to us. And similarly, our mission. I mean, just like you know, it's not about linear square feet, shelf feet for books. It's about helping our customers learn, create, and share. And so we know that we have done, we're not about just consuming knowledge, but also applying it so that our customers can make things and share it with their community. We've really changed a lot. And I know y'all have too. I like to say it ain't your grandmama's library anymore. So the things we offer have changed dramatically, as you know, recording studios, theaters, woodworking shops, teaching kitchens. That is my personal favorite. I do tend to drop by the Northeast branch when I know there's something good on the menu. It's really not just about story time and books anymore. New folks are coming all the time. But the problem with that is we built these new libraries. We have all these exciting new places for folks to come and learn, but we didn't really know anything about them. Nor did we have any way to make recommendations to them for other things that they might like. So let's think about the Amazon and the Netflix experience. Why can't libraries' online services be similar to that? Why can't we know what customers are doing, scan them in when they come to programs, and make recommendations? And we want them to find more of what they love. And that's one of our experience principles of Intercept. So in conjunction with the renovation of the branches, our website traffic went way up. People were interested. What's going on? Look at this. Oh yeah, I heard they have this cool new thing. That increased our new user traffic by over 35% in just a couple of years. In fact, it became our biggest branch, basically, within the system. It was also serving as the first experience that new customers had when they interacted with the library, and it wasn't always great. We were losing them. We were looking at our analytics. We could see that we really weren't meeting the expectations of our new customers. So we knew that at the same time we needed a new website, and we wanted that improved customer experience with program attendance. So we decided to develop them in tandem, and that's where Aten comes in. Our vision for Intercept was an open source calendaring, event management, and room reservation application with the special sauce of scanning customers at programs and making recommendations based on their activity. We knew this was what we wanted in our heads. It was hard to kind of pull it out how that would exactly work, but we pursued and received a $250,000 Knight Foundation grant to develop Intercept. And part of that goal was the application was we insisted that Intercept be open source. Quite a few of us, not Mark, maybe not Philip, but maybe me, really didn't know what that entailed, but we knew that our goal was that it was available to everybody. So what is it? Intercept is a suite of Drupal modules covering event management, room reservation, equipment reservation, and then that extra customer tracking, feedback, and recommendations. Why? But again, why? We talked about that. We don't know a whole lot about our customers, but it is not just for us as well. Obviously, like we want to know more about them so that we can cater to their needs, but their needs had changed drastically as we were renovating our buildings. They had said from the beginning when we had customer interviews, what were you looking for in a community? They needed more space to meet, more book groups and community meetings. We've vastly increased our number of rooms that are available. We've also seen an increase in library programming, as I know you have as well. That's really an opportunity of growth for us, as we know that readership is sometimes flat in this day and age. Although I'm sure right this minute, most librarians would say readership is at the top of everybody's social media feed. When are you opening? Give me my books. So on top of that, we've increased the types of number of programs, and we really wanted a clean way to interface with them for customers to be able to browse events, reserve rooms, and engage with their customers in new ways. Our original goal was to create a bucket, a connector between Polaris, which is our ILS. For those non-library folks, ILS stands for Integrated Library System, what you think of as the catalog, and our existing calendar system, which was displayed through some of Mark's magic on our website. We were using Evanced at the time. We were not thrilled with the way Evanced worked at the time. We were not able to upgrade due to the number of locations we had. And so we decided that as part of Intercept, we would develop a new calendaring system as well. So instead of building a connector between the ILS and a software that we didn't love, we decided to build all of that. That was a lot to tackle. And honestly, the scanning part has been way easier than making the calendar work. But it is working really well now. We love the way it looks. It's very seamless for customers and staff, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. So then we're trying to make that seamless customer experience so that when we make these recommendations to them, when we scan them in at programs and make recommendations to them, that they're not just getting another email that they're not going to read, or they're going to gloss over it because it isn't of interest to them right this minute. We wanted to make it more of a pull rather than a push marketing tool. So we made it so that recommendations are found in the website, the same place they go to check where they are on the holds list, put things on hold, find an event itself, a program. So we integrated everything into this one, hopefully seamless customer experience. So you might ask, if we can stop here and say, hey, that sounds like a good product. I might be interested in that. What would I need? What would my basic requirements be? You're going to want to have it integrated into your website you want your website to be Drupal 8. If you're not a library, but you do have programs like a museum or an academic library, you might have rooms that the students can reserve. Either of those is something that would really be helpful with this. You have rooms to let out, you have a calendar of events, be interested. You are interested in investing in some new development. We are looking for really partners in this project, this open source project, who would be willing to come in, find something that doesn't work for them and make it so that other folks could benefit as well. You're going to have to switch your calendar system. It's dependent on using the calendar system within Intercept. So why did we decide to build it? Let me show you some of the features. So events management. It's a clean interface that shows all the programs that we have at all the branches. Times, you can look at it a couple of ways. It's filterable. You can search, you can save an event to your account. You can register all within the system. Room reservations, same thing, filter by room, location, type of room. And it works really well from the customer side. The staff side I have an exciting actually announcement about the staff side part of the room reservation software. We have iterated a lot over the software over the past almost 2 years now, a year and a half. And one of the exciting features that Aten's brought to fruition for us is a large scale calendar on the staff side so that they can at a glance see what's available, and they can click and drag to make reservations or change reservations. If you've worked with Aten before, you've probably gotten to know Ferris, and he is just a wizard. We're really excited about this deploying next month. It's going to help our staff a lot as folks, when we reopen, as folks walk up, need a room, the staff will be able to see everything at a glance. And then that special sauce, again, is scanning in customers at an event. And we do that in a number of ways. We have dedicated kiosks in some of our larger locations outside of their meeting rooms that we've repurposed from different things around the library. So it's set up, staff member just has to log in, put it in kiosk mode, and customers can scan themselves in. at smaller branches, when it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning and we know you're coming in for story time, we can just scan them in at the desk as they walk in, because we're pretty sure that's where they're going. And then you can also scan in with any barcode scanner. So you could roll a laptop and a barcode scanner around, walk around with a phone and a Bluetooth scanner. There are multiple ways to scan folks in. So then another thing that was really important about this was the staff analysis side. So rather than counting heads, which we still do obviously for each program, put it on a piece of paper, put it in a spreadsheet, manager sending it to somebody to catalog all these information. The program attendance is logged right into the staff side of the website so that it is easily exportable. And we've iterated on that a good bit so that staff can easily see which ones they haven't forgot to enter attendance for one reason or another. And so our data analysts can quickly kind of at a glance say, hey, you got a couple of programs you need to enter your attendance at the end of the month. Customers can evaluate the program and provide feedback, and this adds to the algorithm that makes recommendations to them. So, and it also gives us feedback. We're able to look at those evaluations, and see what we might need to tweak about that particular program. So let's roll the tape and let me show you what it looks like in real life. All right. So I'm going to look at this from the customer side first. Just want to make sure I got the right thing. Okay. So this is our dev site. So hopefully I can't break anything. Mark knows that's possible. But so on our dev site, I'm logged in here as a good friend, Paige Turner. So Paige is logged in. She can see this is her card number, so she's sure that this is her. And so I can see here what she has checked out. She's got a few things checked out. You can go to her account summary. And see if she had any holds, if she had anything that needed to be renewed, any fines or fees that she needed to pay. Here's where she would see if she had a room reservation for a book club. And here's where that special sauce turns into action. These are the events recommended for Paige. Paige's events are a little all over the place because I scan her in at a lot of different programs as we're doing demos. But here you would find things that are matched up to the things that you have saved in your events, the things that you've attended or scanned in at, registered for, or given recommendations, given evaluations to. We have Intercept obviously integrated directly with our site, and so Mark has built this beautiful novelist integration where we get titles recommended to Paige as well based on the things that she checks out. So we're going to go to my events. So we do have a question about customer privacy. So I want to let you know, patron privacy. We do scan, obviously we are taking data about a customer when we scan them in at programs. We believe it is just one more piece of information of a lot that we already have about you. And we are just as guarded with that information as we would be with any other information we have about you, which is we would never share it. We would never sell it. Obviously that's integral to our code of ethics, and we're not going to share that information. So here Paige is registered for this event. This is our native son, Pat Conroy, and we're having a program about him about his life and online, and Paige is registered for that. So this is what's upcoming. And you can also see what Paige has attended in the past. We can click these buttons, whether it's registered or attended. So here's something that she attended. We gave her a rating. Obviously these say canceled because these are the things that were canceled in the spring while we were closed. So here's an event that she's attended. So she's going to give it a little rating. She's going to give it a smiley face, and she's going to say this was fresh, helpful, and I met some great people, and submit. And we are working on, one of the things that has been important to us about this is it's a little bit of a chicken and egg, right? Like, how do you get people to buy into scanning in if they don't see the benefit? How do they see the benefit if they haven't scanned in? So we're working on some push notifications. We've done some user experience testing, and people said they were interested in having a text that says, hey, we saw that you attended a Lego program at the Northeast branch. You might be interested in attending Lego Batman Storytime at the Cooper branch. So we are working towards that, and that's one of the things Aten's working on for us right now. So then one more thing that is integral to Intercept is our room reservation. So Paige is going to go reserve a room, and she's going to look at Maine because that's downtown, and she's got a book club that she wants to have a place for them to meet. So we're going to make that for tonight because it's a last minute thing, and she's excited about having her book club meet at the library. We're open. Oh my gosh, they're so excited. So this is where she would put in the number of attendees, the reasons for having for the meeting. This is a couple of things that we added after we launched the site. One was that we were finding that a lot of people had longer meetings where they wanted to bring food. Like I said, we just spent $59 million on new carpet. So we wanted to make sure that if we had an ability to charge them. This is not integrated into the site itself, into Intercept. What this does is a person moderates this and then adds it to their Polaris account. So that's how that works. So we're going to say, no, we don't have any refreshments. And then the other thing that we added was this part, publicize. So one thing we found when we launched was that people were using these big meeting spaces, and somebody's reserved a room under their library card, but it's their kid's library card, and it doesn't have any relativity to the meeting that's happening. The name doesn't match the meeting. Staff were rightly confused and frustrated because they wanted to be able to help these customers when they walked in and said, hey, I'm here for the thus and so meeting. Nowhere does it say thus and so meeting. So we have iterated on the site to be able to say this. So if you say publicize your meeting, we're going to create a node on the calendar that says meetings, and you'll be able to send a link out to your attendees, or just be able to share, and the staff can easily find that. So just wanted to kind of go over that. And terms of service, rather than making them sign the terms of service every time, we've moved that there. So they've submitted a reservation. So now Paige can see that this has been requested, not approved. This is manually moderated for us the way that we have that. You do not have to set it up that way, but that's the way that works. So that's room reservation. All right. So I want to switch gears and show you what it looks like from the staff side. Okay. I'm going to stop and look at some of the questions just to see if I can. Yeah, we'll get to those at the end. Let me keep going here. Okay, so you can see that I'm logged in as an admin to the same site. It looks the same from the front page, except that we have these tools over here that Tyler and Aten work together on, our Tyler front-end developer. So it looks like a Drupal site, except the stuff in the middle is the site itself, right? So I'm going to go to that event node that we just, Paige was just looking at. And this is where I can see that who scanned in at the event. So that's page, that's my library card. I think that's my library card number, and that's pages. So here we can see who has attended. We can scan someone in, and I will show you how that works. And then here's where the analysis tab comes in, is where the attendance comes in. So we know that, especially in the beginning, not everybody is going to scan in, or they might have one card and they brought 4 people, or they don't have a card at all. They're not even a card holder for the library. They come from another county, because our programs are so awesome. So we still count heads. We still want to make sure we know how many people were in the room, because we're going to report that to the state library, and then to eventually through the PLS to IMLS. So here's where I would put how many attendees showed up for this program, and we'll save that here. And then again, the data analyst or whoever has permission to do this can export that monthly stat by branch, for the whole system, by type of program, and be able to find that information real easily to be able to report that out monthly. Okay, so I want to show you what, I'm going to go to a different one because I've already scanned myself in at these. So let me just show you. This is that meetings radius button that I was telling you about. If you click on that, you'll see customer meetings that are not library events. Okay, so I'm going to go to this program here. And this is what it would look like for the customer in kiosk mode. So the program is about to start. The staff sets this up as people are checking in. They can scan their card here. So this is how we know they were there. Yay, you made it. It was great. And then I'll be able to see that account, see that event on my account, and give it the rating. So again, it all ties that back in. So here you can see who scanned in again, and then this is where you would add those counts in. You can also give some evaluation. This is, again, all on the staff side. So if you're going to do this one again, you might say, you know, needed more confetti cannons, whatever it was that you needed to make this event better, or don't schedule it on the Clemson-Carolina football game, that sort of thing. This Deep South football is king, right? Okay. So let me show you. So these events get here because the staff input them in Intercept, again, here in the site. So let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to create an event. So we built in templates into Intercept because we know that sometimes you're doing the same thing over and over again, or you're just spinning off something that was very similar. So you can use any of these templates. So you start a new book group, use the book group template, right? But this is something entirely new. So we're going to start from scratch. And you can see that beautiful interface comes to a screeching halt, and we're back in Drupal. So, so this is, the staff are used to using this. It's very similar to what they were using in the past. So we're going to test a book club. We're going to create an event. All of this information, the text, is what shows on the homepage of the website, on the event node, all this different, the different places to put that content. You can choose a date. It's going to be on Friday at 2 p.m. and it's going to go to Friday at 3 p.m. Now, here's another awesome option, because it is, the room reservation is integrated into the event node as well. So as you're creating the event, you can also create a room reservation. So it's going out and checking to see if the calendar is free for that room, and then creating a room, holding the room at the same time. You can make it recurring. You can add tags, event types, registration. You can make, this is where you can make something a meeting if it's a customer meeting, and that is Some of those are required. I'm not going to fill out the whole thing, but that then ends up being an event. All right, so we're going to go back, and it'll look like that. And then I want to show you one more thing, and then we'll stop and answer some questions, and I might pull in some of the other folks too. So room reservations, this is what this looks like from the back side. We do, like I said, it is moderated by our staff, and so they can go in here and see. So these are obviously, this one is approved, this one was denied, this one was canceled. So this is where staff are able to go through and see what's new, what they need to look at each day, see what their day is going to look like. They can filter by location. And like I said, we're very soon going to have the an option for them, for the staff to look at the calendar, one big calendar with all the rooms a day at a time, or one room for a week at a time, and be able to see where they're, who's coming in that day, and also what they need to do to what they need to do to be prepared for the folks who are coming that day, or where they have holes that they can fill as people come in. Okay. Whew, okay, that's a lot, I know, right? And some of y'all have seen that before. So I wanted to try to get to some questions if folks had it. And there's Philip. Hey, Philip. Philip has got good answers on a lot of these things. I know Mark is on the call. I know Kay is on the call. So Joe, if it's okay with you, I'm going to dig into the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. If you just want to go top down, it looks like the chat is, most of it is publicly available. So yeah. I can do the one question, which is a logistical thing, which is we are recording the webinar. We will be sharing the recording afterward. Super. And I guess after that, Sarah, if you want to just pull anybody in, feel free. Okay.
So Jason asked, are you considering museum pass management? I don't know what that is. If Joe does, he can help.
Sure. Jason, I'm not familiar with Museum Pass either. I'm happy to follow up with you directly afterward to just continue the conversation.
Okay, so one of the questions is, can you use 3 modules and not use the customer tracking? You do not have to use the customer tracking at all. You could use the calendar and room reservation and never track the first customer. It's there, it's included, but you don't have to tell them that, and you don't have to tell your staff that. We do think it helps, and it's one of those things that really, like I said, it was the impetus for us to do this. How do we find out who's here, and how do we make recommendations to them? But it is completely standalone. You do not have to do that. I'm going to get back to the Drupal question. Is it possible for staff to log manually taken program attendance without scanning barcodes? I think we got that one. Mm-hmm. Novelist is connected to patron borrowing. Yes, Mark might be able to answer that question, but yes, the Novelist is connected to what they've checked out in the past. Mark matches that up on the back end, and it shows recommendations for other things that are tagged similarly. Are reservation forms customizable? Yeah, yes. If you were to, Philip's shaking his head like maybe halfway. But yeah, I mean, we obviously we've got everything set up for open to other development, but specific to what we have our needs are. But as things stand, it should be relatively doable. No, totally doable, relatively easy to be able to edit those manual forms. Okay. What happens if the room is already taken? Hey, Alyssa, how are you? I'm glad to see you again. It will say that room is booked. It won't let you reserve it. So you'll have to find another room or find another time. Is there a library system that is an innovative library using this? If you could share that library's name. I wish I could, Samantha. That is a great question. We are the only library using Intercept right now. We have been working on it for more than half of my career at this library. And so we feel like it's awesome. We've really gotten it down. What we're looking for now is some partners who'd be willing to join us in this quest for the ultimate library-made, library-for calendar and event management system. We have very recently decoupled the ILS from the install. I'm saying these words, they probably don't make sense to you developers, but I'm going to say them anyway. The install that is on Drupal.org and GitHub from the ILS. So with, again, a little bit of development, Sierra would be very, especially since it's another innovative product, be very easy to integrate. But there's Kay and Mark, and so if y'all want to chime in, feel free. So Intercept does not function as really is the question Jenny Lane has is does it function as a self-check? It is tied to the ILS, but it's not it doesn't actually do any of the functions. It just displays them to both the customer and the staff. We do charge for some room bookings, but with the rooms that require fees, either because you've said you're going to have food there or because it's one of our larger spaces, the larger ones have to be managed manually. So folks have to call. That would be tying in payment to the system would be a great functionality for a library to add. A lot of folks have asked about that. It's just not, it hasn't been high on our priority list as we've gone through our backlog and made some decisions, but we have had some people ask about that. I think it'd be great. And that's from Steve Till Rogers from EPL. I'm so glad to see your name. Scheduled times for curbside pickup. We actually talked about using Intercept for computer reservations a little bit, just trying to figure out how to manage that in this new world, right? Scheduling pickup times for curbside. Maybe you create an event and have a registration. I'm not sure if that would work. It's not completely unrealistic. Mark, do you have any thoughts on how that might work?
Yeah, I definitely haven't thought that one through before. I know our Business and Careers Center, they schedule some things with very small groups, like sometimes one-on-one. So yeah, so that's not inconceivable that you could have kind of set that up as a space and just allow one registration for it, I guess.
Yeah, you could just have them on the half hour or whatever and have a bunch set up and let people sign up. Sure, that would work. Mark, while you're on the phone, there was a question from Michael about Drupal. How did we make the decision to use Drupal? That was a long time ago.
Yeah, so I think, when we were looking at completely rebuilding the site and coming up with this plan for Intercept, we did look at other technologies. I think a big part of it probably came to sort of playing to our strengths. We had a lot of experience internally using Drupal and had a lot of success with it. We also were lucky enough to find Aten, who had a ton of experience with Drupal. So yeah, I think it was just kind of, it was a system that was working well for us and could do what we needed it to do. And like I said, it worked well for our development partner as well. So yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. So Michael also asked about, it would be nice to have an extra field during check-in as a customer comes in if they have family members. That was definitely on when we got together with Aten and drew on little pieces of paper what it would look like and what we wanted to do. That's definitely one of the things that we would love to add, because we know a mom comes in, she's got kids with her for story time, or a family comes in to work on a project in the wood shop together. So yeah, that would be a nice thing to have. Do we have a POS system integration? We do not. We do not have that yet. Jenny asks, is it possible for one-on-one appointment? Absolutely. So you can definitely, the way that would work, the way it is you would schedule times when you were, as a staff person, were available, and then allow people to reserve them just as if they were registering for a program. You just set up one at a time. The attendance max would be one. So Grant asked, Grant, we've met before somewhere, I believe, but I'm drawing a blank on where you're from. How does your data analyst work with Intercept? How do they like the reporting aspects? Has it allowed them to do anything easier or fancier? I don't know about fancier, but yeah, so the data analyst exports program attendance right now. Oh gosh, that's right. That's right. We met. That's right. We met in Philadelphia, I believe. ALA. That's right. So, I can show you the reporting, but it's basically a CSV export for program attendance, and it's making it a lot easier. Like I said, we have recently iterated to make it even easier for staff to see where they're missing, where they forgot to add attendance in. So we've got that. We have this, I believe on this sprint, we are working on room reservation statistic export as well. That's kind of, didn't make the first cut, but we're working on that now so that we can see the rooms that are reserved. We think that's going to be really important as we open back up. So yeah, it's been very easy to use. It is just a CSV, so he has to do the fancy stuff in another application. Let's see.
There's actually a bunch of questions in the Q&A as well.
All right, there's a couple more here. Is authentication handled through your ILS? That could be tough to get permission for our library system with individual libraries access the API of Innovative. Mark? Yes, Philip is saying yes, it is handled through the ILS. Yep. Okay. All right, so let's look at the Q&A. Okay. I'm interested to know who would be a good Intercept user besides libraries. So for sure, a museum that has a lot of programs. I know our local museums here have classes and summer camps and workshops. It would definitely work for that. So that way you'd be able to display that information to all of your customers online and then take reservations. Again, if we could add that payment, incorporate the payment option, that would be helpful. An academic library for study carrels, room reservation. We'd love to know who else might be interested in using something. Katie says, does Intercept prevent a patron from requesting a room if it's already booked? Absolutely. It will not allow you to double book. Staff can override a booking, but it gives them a little pop-up that says, hey, are you sure you want to do that? Who can see the program evaluations? It is the staff. I believe I have this right. Kay probably knows this better than me, but it is the staff who entered it and then anybody with a certain level of permissions and above. Does this only integrate with Polaris? Right now it does. Yes, I might have answered that already, but we'd love to talk to somebody about moving to an other ILS. Can patrons delete their program history? We don't have that ability right now. If all the things that they've attended and signed up for, we don't have that ability for them to do that. And I don't even believe staff could do that, but that would be, I know they like to delete their checkout history sometimes, or their expired holds. So that would probably be something people would like. If a room is unavailable, do you have a waiting list for rooms? We do not. And that's one that has not come up before, but that's an interesting thought. So your ILS's discovery layer is now in your Drupal website. Yes, Alyssa, it is. We have completely removed access to the catalog.richlandlibrary.com, Polaris's interface, and integrated everything with the website. You would not have to do that. We have other ways of integrating Intercept, but we think it really makes for a more cohesive user experience to have everything in one place. So Sandy says, we have people who try to book study rooms for more than the time is allowed. No, come on, not library customers. They don't try to cheat the system. We allow a person to use a study space for 2 hours per day. Does it track by email? It's tracked by their library card. So they're not allowed to have more than one reservation at a time by their library card. We do have it set up so that you as a library can change that setting so that they can have multiple reservations at one time. We do have, I think I just saw a ticket yesterday that people were trying to use multiple cards to book a room for a whole day. They're going to do it. Okay. Can non-library patrons book spaces? That was a question from Kristen. they are currently that was one of the things that we switched. When we switched from Evance to this, we made the decision that just like the materials you take out, the spaces that you use require a library card. That was a policy decision really on our end as well. But you certainly could I guess you could disable that. You still have to have a way for folks to log in to use the rest of the system. So Jenny says, what were you using before? We were using Evanced by Demco. We had been on Evanced for years and years and years. Initially, I'm not gonna lie to you, Philip and I stood in front of every staff member and said, it's gonna be better than Evanced. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. And it has gotten there. Initially, there were some things that people were used to doing that did not work the same way that they wanted them to, or maybe even were a little more cumbersome, but we have really worked over the past 18 months to address a lot of those staff questions, issues, to make it easier on them, because obviously this is a tool that they use to get their job done every day. And so we wanted to make it as easy as possible. So we've really done a lot on those tickets.
Okay, awesome. I've got, and if you,
hey Joe, can I just say thank you so much for allowing us to present this information on Aten's webinar series. And I swear, I'm not trying to be sentimental or anything, but we have thoroughly enjoyed working with the Aten folks, and they're a great group to work with, and it's been just a great partnership. So thanks for everything y'all have done.